Blitzers, Nerf Clan, it's Ronan. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do a deep dive into the Caernavron Action X. Action X is in stores, 15,000 gold, and it's all yours. I've had it for a while. What you're seeing here is a comparison between the Caernavron regular tech tree and then the 252U, the 26E5, the Sheriff, and the Tiger 2. Arguably, these are the tanks in Tier 8, and you can see that the Caernavron really offers advantages versus all of them nearly everywhere. It has the highest DPM, even when calibrated, obviously, than the hires. And just look at all the red. No need to go into the details between all 5 of the tanks. Win rate-wise, the 252U is still the highest at nearly 62%. But the Action X is right there at 60%. So you can see that this is certainly a contender for the Tier 8 heavy tank. And when we break it down and look at it a little bit further, here's why. The Caernavron has tremendous overall, it's the best overall tank in the tier. Hit points are fine. The view range is good. Look at that DPM. It is outrageous. 2,700 when you do not calibrate. 2,500 you do. I do recommend you calibrate this. The pen is solid and you will break through things. It's got good gun velocity. The good rate of fire, obviously. Look at the aim time. Look at this. It's got the lowest aim time and the lowest dispersion anywhere. It's got -10. It's not fast, but it's not slow. It's got good mobility and a good power to weight ratio. And look at the front plate on this thing. First of all, purple means spaced, and spaced is good. And it's got tons of spaced armor. And even where it's not spaced, it's got really good armor. The lower hull is not great, but it's got -10. That's the whole point of this thing. It's and look at this. Some of this is like 326, 600. You're not going to pen this thing if it's hull down. Well, now, the sides of it, however, are not strong except for the spaced armor. And the key to it, to shooting it, if you're facing an Action X, is get it right in that corner of the side before the spaced armor. Not an easy shot. The rear end is huge and it's nothing. He prepared to be HE'd. So, first battle we have today. Yours truly, not me, Artillery Arthur, our fearless clan leader, is driving his new Action X and he's flanking with it. Not something I would recommend, but you know, it's Arthur. He does what Arthur likes to do. But Naval Frontier is a map that is really wonky, and it's particularly right now in encounter mode. Arthur is doing exactly what I think is the best move. He's actually bypassing and flanking with this tank, and it shows you the speed of it. And the other thing with Arthur, he's really smart, is that this tank, the best way to play it is go find a hill. Probably it is the single best tank to work a hill with that I've played in because of the turret, because of the gun depression, because of the mobility. So Arthur actually going to their traditional TD spot there, and it's brilliant because the team more than likely didn't expect that, and they are now officially flanked by an Action X, not the fastest tank in the world. And his first target right here is an 1815A, who is totally out of position. No idea what that idiot is doing there. He's got some good-looking kitty camo, but he is going to learn. And look at how this thing fires. 3.6 seconds. He is just tearing this thing apart, flogging it. Oh my goodness, that is ugly. Just tore it apart. 902 hit points just off the bat. Now, there's a Jig Tig. Great haul down tank. The problem is it's out of position, as is that SU. And Arthur is using his awesome gun depression to go find a hill and shoot. Again, the key to this tank is find a hill. It's got great DPM. By the way, one thing you notice, it has very low shell volume. So Arthur is actually getting low, and you'll see a game of mine at the end here where I ran out of AP. Not the thing, he's only down to 15 with this thing shooting every 3.6 seconds. One thing Wargaming needs to do is actually give us a little bit more ammunition, because you're going to run out of AP pretty quickly. And you do need the APCR, obviously. When calibrated, it gets to about 270, which is what you need to get through the front hull of a Tiger 2. A great measure for the Tiger 2. And that now Arthur is doing another thing, which is using this class-leading dispersion right there to just shoot the hatch. Beautiful. You saw how small that reticule is. That is based off of this immense dispersion. And also, it has the best dispersion after a shot, so you can shoot and continue to shoot. Look at that gun depression. Of course, he bounces the Jig Tig off of his face, uses the gun depression to just shoot him in the lower gun mantling here, just working that beautifully. Again, find a hill, climb it, and shoot. All right, well, the rest of this, as you can see, Arthur is just whacking people. And, you know, he's got a lot of good teammates. He's still got, right now a 5-on-3. but it's close. It's quickly becoming a non-game because of the damage that Arthur is just unloading here. And honestly, what I would call this is a regularly typical match for the Action X. You just go around shooting the crap out of people. And Arthur actually got a little bit zealous there. He could have farmed this Tiger too. I guess maybe he wanted to help his teammates. He forgot he was in a pub match where the purpose is to let them die. Just joking. That's what it feels like the purpose is. But anyway, tore that Tiger 2 apart. And here is some good learning. So Arthur is facing an IS-3 here, who clearly is a noob, doesn't have camo on. And Arthur actually does a very common mistake. He's shooting him in the side. You notice that didn't bounce. Now, you're looking at AP round with 220 pen. That should pen. Why not? He switches to APCR 270 pen bounce. So if you look at the IS-3, and I have a little window of it here, the IS-3 has very, very good spaced armor just on that strip on the sides. And Arthur actually said afterwards, he looked at the video and realized that's what he was shooting. So remember that with the IS-3, you can't shoot up that high on their sides. 3781 damage, MC2, Master Class 2. Well done, Arthur. Exceptionally great use of that tank. Find a hill, climb it, start shooting people. Next, we got Lek, who his check to Wargaming, as he says, did get cashed because this time he's actually got Pramo on his team. Lek seems to always be able to get that. Just kidding. Lek said he actually had a little bit of a hard time with matchmaking with this tank. But he's in Rockfield, pushing to the C-cap, only place to go in my opinion. Especially with the team. However, he's only taking 5 people there. There are 2 still on the other side. And Lek goes into this great position for haul down tanks because it allows you to wiggle to that area there against the standard B. It also allows you to peek over the hill at TDs and towards C-cap. So it's a very versatile area. However, he does something here that's very dangerous and you can only do with a really good haul down tank with high DPM, is jumping into this channel. And notice how he's able to work it. Nobody wants to mess with him and get outshot, so they don't want to jump in this channel with him, and he just pounds. He's pounding both the standard B and the T49. He's already got 4 or 5 shots into him. AMX come get some too, and continuously working that. He couldn't get the gun down there, but that's because he was actually angled over that hill. But you'll see he closely does it here. Finishes off a standard B, who pretty much just took a beating of a lifetime there. And it's off to the next seal to club. The LAKP of the German Bulldog is newly in stores as well. Great tank. The German Bulldog is a professional's tank. It's got great capabilities, but in the hands of a lay player like that guy probably was, wrong tank to bring around. You saw Lek just pound him, and you could see there was not one red spot on that entire tank. I would say a comment on the HE of the Action X. The HE pen is about 40. I highly don't think you're going to be shooting a lot of HE. That's a very low amount to pen. Maybe if someone you snuck up on someone, which isn't easy to do with this tank, or the occasional light like the German Bulldog or something. But in general, you'll be shooting AP and APCRs, and with the DPM that you got, HE is not something you absolutely have to do. So it's 5-on-3 here. Certainly not too difficult of a battle. There's a beautiful bounce from the Maushin. You saw Lek again using the gun depression there and only showing the turret in the front side. And that will get you a ton of bounces with the Action X. You can see that IS-5 sneaking there. Lek pulls off an amazing shot. There goes the IS-5 and the Mouse, and they're totally out of position. I don't know what the hell they were doing in the first place. Had they supported their team at C in the beginning, maybe there was a chance, but they were off capping A and B like a couple of idiots. Why would you do that? I don't understand why people keep doing that. The other thing is, if you don't go with your team, if you choose to go to A cap and the team went to C, why do you cap both A and B? It makes no sense. You're not going to win by points if you're down 5-1. You're going to just lose the game. Why? It's amazing. A lot of people, some of the guys in our clan are turning off Supremacy for that reason, because it really does bring out the stupidity of people to a whole new level. All right, so here is a good tank just to look at this thing compared to, and that is obviously the EXP and the M6 EXP, and you see Lek, this guy turned, but you can see he could pen him on the cheeks or side cheeks and in the obviously the side and the rear. Lek pops him, finishes there, 4 kills. Lek ends up with a really huge game, carrying Pramo around, Mastery Class 1, 3,300 damage, and 4 kills, 1276 base XP, which gets you an MC1, by the way, with this tank, so no mastering this one easily. Terrific game there by Lek, really great use of positioning and speed. Now you got my Ronan here, 3rd game. And I am, as you can see, I'd already earned my try-hard camo for this tank in ratings before. Great tank, for great camo as well, one of my favorites. And we are in Hellas. This is actually, unfortunately, a tournament game that we had from the other night. And in this game, we were actually, this is Tour 4 Game 2, I believe, or Game 3. I can't remember which game it was. And we were facing a very, very strong Fudra team. And as you see here, I made a critical error there, in my opinion, looking back on it. I pushed past the tunnel. I actually got in that tunnel, and unfortunately, by pushing past it, I got into a good position where I was protected from this rock, and you're going to see me do a lot of damage. But Lek behind me was out of position trying to cap A, which we needed. In fact, we lost because we didn't get that cap. And he was trying really hard to cap it, and in the process got demolished by these two guys who I couldn't help him with. And that was just a critical bad move there. And the team did really well overall. This was a very, very difficult tournament. And I think this would have been a terrific win. All right, nonetheless, let's back to the tank. So what did I do? Back to the lesson. I found a hill, and I climbed on top of it. And or to the side of it, I should say. Just using the gun depression for this tank and trying very hard to hit that EXP. EXPs are a nightmare because of their armor, and this guy was hauled down. It definitely wasn't easy. I was actually trying to keep him off of Lek and off the rest of the team because I was holding two guys back. And in my thinking, if you can hold two guys back in a tournament, you're going to make it so that we have a 6-on-5, which is usually a good thing. Unfortunately, that EXP continued to push forward and did do a lot of damage to Lek. And there's a bounce from the T-34. You'll see him in a second get demolished by the Action X and some other things. So right now, we somehow managed to lose two guys. I don't remember who died, probably Wheeler. And, just kidding, Wheeler. And we're facing a 5-on-7, so not looking good. Two bounces right there, almost 800 damage bounce. And I got a Chimera pushing on me, an IS-5. I got the T-34 behind him, and the EXP is still in the same place. So I'm essentially holding off 4 tanks. Wrecker comes to the rescue to help me against these guys, and you can see I already bounced 1,500 damage here. And then I start this is when I start laying some damage in. So you get the IS-5, and we were calling to shoot the Chimera. We knew he would be an easier target here to clear. So that's why I'm pushing past the IS-5. Unfortunately, the Chimera was smart too. He backed up, making it difficult. Now I got the EXP behind me, which I was getting ready to get nuked. As I showed you guys before, you've got to protect your ass with this tank. It's big. It's got no armor on there. And you can't just expose it. So I was trying to push forward a bit to not get nuked. Unfortunately, what the EXP was doing, and I got the T-34 shooting me too, the EXP was shooting my teammates, which really wasn't helping. So, nonetheless, I push on this Chimera, and I am able to get 2 more shots into him and clear him. You can see the timing on this. I didn't calibrate my shells. I started calibrating it since then. And it didn't matter there, as you can tell. I would have needed 3 shots no matter what. So, missed that shot like a noob. But I was able to, thanks to Chimera's long reload, able to get there. Now watch this turret. So the Chimera's turret falls on top of the T-34, and if you look at the red damage, he just continues to pile up damage while I shoot him. So I am pounding 2700 DPM into him. Meanwhile, that turret is just dragging his damage down, and the turret does already 800 damage. I finish him off here. The turret did 900 damage. His teammate's turret did 900 damage to him. Talk about stupid. Your teammate's turret can hurt you, but an enemy turret can't. Anyway, clear him, clear the EXP. The problem is we lost cap. They did a smart thing. That EXP pushed and capped A. That's going to unfortunately be our demise in this one. And I'm down to almost no hit points at all. I got a nearly full health 252, a glacial that's backing up. They have all 3 bases. We have a 3-on-2, but we just cannot convert. Wreck does jump into A and gets the A capped. Unfortunately, if I die, which I was 1 shot for these guys, my death pretty much ends the game immediately. So we were hoping to get this, but you can see they had 2 bases, and with 2 bases, they simply won by points. So it was actually a fantastic game. I got to give it up to Fudra, F-U-D-R-A, whatever they call them. They played well and had a good game and beat us there. I did 3,100 damage, 3 kills. Lek did not have his best day, probably the worst game I've ever seen him play in terms of, well, not doing damage. But nonetheless, it was good. So what you see there, you get there, probably, arguably, best tier 8 heavy, certainly top 2. If you got the gold, I'd buy it. Please subscribe to the channel.